Okay, guys. Question 7. Part A was done okay. Okay, so we had to write 2x minus x squared in the form a times x minus h squared plus k. So what it's asking you to do is to complete the square here. So my instinct would be to always write it this way first, minus x squared plus 2x, and then factor out the minus. So I'm going to get minus x squared minus 2x. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the square just for that bit there, which would be x minus 1 squared, and then I'm going to have to take away 1. Okay, so that actually is equal to each other. Let's use equal signs. Okay, and let's put that so complete the brackets there. So then what I need to do is I'm going to end up with negative x minus 1 squared plus 1. I think one of you, I can't remember who, managed to get it wrong because you ended up with negative 1. A minus times a minus is positive. And, of course, you can check your answers because you could expand it and see if you get back to 2x minus x squared. So there's no excuses for losing those 2 marks, okay? There's an easy 2 marks to get. Now, so just bear with me, I'm just going to open up something on my computer. I'm just going to open up the formula booklet, actually. So just give me a second. See why. Okay, so to do the second part, this is actually a much easier question than it looked. Okay, it's a much easier question than it looks. Now there's a big clue, hence. Obviously, what that means is something you've done in part A is going to help you do part B. And that was what frustrated me, is you didn't even use your result from part A to try to make this a bit more simple for yourself. Okay? Now, I'm just going to write the result there. So it was minus x minus 1 squared plus 1. That was the result, okay? So if we're going hence, find this. So the integral between 3 over 2 and a half of 1 over the square root of 2x minus x squared. Clearly what they're leading us to do is now substitute this in instead. So it's going to be 1 over, I'm just going to change it around, the square root of 1 minus x minus 1 squared with respect to x. Now, that might look complicated, but it's not if you know where to look. This is a standard integral. It's an easy one to do. In your formula book, you will see a formula. Just write it in blue because this is what it says. The integral of 1 over the square root of a squared minus x squared is equal to arc sine x over a plus c. So we can just simply use that result. I mean, we can see that this sort of, this function here very much matches this function here. A is equal to 1 and we're replacing x with x minus 1. So it becomes very, very straightforward. The integral is arc sine of x minus 1 over 1. So it's just going to be x minus 1. Between these two limits, 3 over 2 and a half. I mean, it's just not hard, okay? If you've actually studied, you've done your revision, you remember that that's a standard integral and that it's in the formula book. It's just very, very straightforward, guys. It just simply comes down to having worked hard and done your review. Okay, so we just got to sub in. We end up with arc sine of a half minus arc sine of negative a half. Okay? So what we've got to do is remember what arc sine of a half is and what arc sine of negative a half is. Well, let's just draw the sine curve. Okay? Sine curve looks like this. But remember that because arcsine is a inverse function, it has to be limited to a certain domain. So basically, the only bit of the sine curve that we're interested in is the bit that will give us a one-to-one function. Okay, so we're interested in. Sorry, change that to black. We're interested in this bit of the graph only. This is 1, this is -1, this is pi over 2, and this is negative pi over 2. So we're only interested in that bit, okay? And so we want a half. That's going to be there, okay? Which is 30 degrees, so I think that's pi over 6, isn't it? So arcsine of a half is pi over 6. Minus a half, we're over here. And just by symmetry, we'll be able to see that that's going to be minus pi over 6. So it's going to be minus pi over 6, which is equal to pi over 6 plus pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 6, which is pi over 3. Okay, again, just checking I've got the right answer. I have got the right answer. Okay, so that's question 7. It looks difficult, but seriously, guys, if you've done the work, if you've done the revision, if you're actually putting in the effort that is required, that's not a difficult question. Okay, you're just not doing enough revision. You need to do an hour a day. Okay.